Hello, Facebook family and all. Honey, we are doing a little bit of a test for tomorrow's special guest, Nichelle Kitt. I am Corinthia Peoples, and this is Power in My Pivot. It is a time where we have intimate discussions, unpacking the trueness and the realness of life. We have journeys, and our journeys takes us in different places, but only can we pivot when we learn lessons of presence and past so we can move forward. We're going to have special guests tomorrow. You guys have to tune in, honey, tomorrow. We have special guest Nichelle Kitt that will share with us her service piece of how she has had to journey and take her walk through service. Many of us serve, but we're never fully gratified in our own walk. And Miss Nichelle Kitt is going to share some really intimate details. Stay tuned. I will be right back. I am back with you and in tune, honey, in alignment. Yes. So, just to tell you a little bit about our special guest, Nichelle Kitt. Nichelle is a native Ohioan who resides in the Bay Area. And she believes that mental health is the key to unlock closed doors. Nichelle's mission is to help individuals become aware and develop the courage to eliminate fear and distractions that prevent us from cultivating our own peace of mind. Without further ado, I'm going to bring in Nichelle Kitt.
Hi,
Hi, Nichelle. How are you?
I am fully present. How are you?
I am fully present too, honey.
Let's see.
Yes, I am so
Great.
glad to have you.
I'm happy to be here.
I'm glad you said yes.
It's beyond the year of Shonda Rhimes' year of yes. It's just yes, yes, yes. I know that's something that she coined, and I can so relate to that. But it's been now for me at least a couple years of yes, and it's so gratifying in so many ways. And so I had to say yes, because right as always, when I get my wonderful spiritual downloads and my lessons, it's like, did someone just ask me to do something which is going to take me to the next level because I'm graduating from the other level? Oh, yeah. Got to say yes. Yes, and full transparency.
Yes, and full transparency. Leveling up, right?
Yes. Yeah. You got to. I should say you got to. I have to. Not
Yeah,
everybody got to. I always say don't should on nobody.
right.
It's, let's just keep it real. So it's like, no, I got to,
It's true.
you
Coulda,
know.
shoulda, woulda. It's too late.
Yeah, yeah, and that's projecting onto somebody else. I don't. Again, we're talking about mental health. I'm not trying to project onto anybody. We all either are coming or going through something, and that's why, again, our conversation, power in my pivot. It's I'm pivoting, and there's power in that in so many levels.
Yes.
Many
So
levels.
yes. So let's unpack this, right?
Okay.
You are a woman of service. I've seen you serve in so many roles and lead through service and in various roles throughout our connection. And it's been over 10 years that we've had a connection with one another. And I've seen you serve and serve and serve and serve. So I guess, I have to ask you, I must have you. We're being transparent.
Yeah,
So
always.
I definitely have to ask you, is there a cost and a price in serving others?
Um, definitely, definitely. And I always I'm always mindful of my breath And that's why I took my time to breathe before I answered that, because there is no rush, right? There is power in the pause, power in your breath before you bring up the truth, which is, for me, my truth, which is very uncomfortable at times to say it because it's being very vulnerable. So, to answer your question, yes, there's a cost. There's a cost on so many different levels. There's a financial cost. There's a spiritual cost. There's an emotional cost. And it's not just financial, it's also mental. It's also very draining, and yet rewarding. But the key word is draining. I use the example of always being able to be that well for people, WELL, and that, back in the day, because I'm that old, you would go to the well, right? Or hear the stories of people going to the well and getting water, not the faucet, but going to the well. And so you would constantly get a bucket because you couldn't carry you can only carry what you could carry. So most likely it was a bucket. So having to do that, when you get to the bottom of the well, there is no water,
Mm,
right? And so what does that look like to be in a drought? What does it look like to be empty? What does it look like to not be filled when you're always filling others? So it's a cost in a bunch of different ways. And the mental exhaustion of just being always on or of service to others. And not everyone gives back. There are some people that just take and will continue to take until you say no, and set up a variety of different boundaries. If the first one doesn't work, then do another one, because there will be people that'll just take from you and don't think about worrying about you being literally like a desert, totally dry, totally parched, and for whatever reason, you're not a concern unless they want something from you.
mm,
And so that's a cost. And then also too, the financial cost, in the sense of buying things of persons that are of service and feeling obligated, but not so much, well, feeling obligated for one. And again, I'm always speaking for myself and my own truth, but
yeah.
being obligated to purchase something that you really can't afford, but you're trying to purchase to support them. And then it's like, at what cost? Instead of paying cash for it, you're charging it.
Mm,
And as you continue to charge and you can't pay the full amount off on your credit card, it increases your debt. And then at what cost? So debt for service.
mm-hmm.
Uh, and so that's just a couple of things. I don't want to give too much away, but those are a couple of things. The
Tomorrow.
exhaustion is. Oh, there goes that light again. We're
That's
gonna fix
why we're doing this test, honey. This is the
it.
test for
Yes,
tomorrow's
yes,
show.
yes, and we're gonna work on that.
Yes, and we're gonna have Nichelle. She's fully disclosing. Um,
Yes.
she's fully being transparent, and that's what I adore about you. And that's why I asked you, because I don't. Some people have no other way of being.
Hmm.
Some
Yes.
people, if they, it's just no sugarcoating. They
Yes.
show up, and what you see is what you get.
Yes.
They're just truly truthful, and I think that's you. You're an honest individual where you can't fake the funk.
No.
I mean, we've talked to code switch, right? We can code switch even with our own friends and family. We can code switch,
Yes.
but you're able to bring down the veil. You're
Yeah.
able to bring down the veil. So let me ask you this: should a person who finds themselves, a person that finds themselves that are of service, of
Mhm.
service, giving, like you spoke about, giving, how would you suggest that individual limit their services? Or how do you know when to turn the faucet on of service and then turn it off? Or should you turn off the faucet of service? And
Um, that's actually like three things to think about. So I personally, I only can speak for myself, but one way is to just take inventory, just awareness. I always say awareness is key, right? So awareness of, is this something that you're consistently doing, and is it causing you a dis-ease? So
mhm.
that would be the first thing, because some people don't see it as a dis-ease, and that's fine. But if it's causing you a dis-ease, if it's causing you financial hardship, if it's causing you to be emotionally distraught, then you might want to rethink it.
So
Um, and then
if service is causing you to be financially depleted or distraught, then it's time to reevaluate how you serve.
yes, yeah, I think it's important to reevaluate on a daily basis. Not everybody does it. I do a lot of intense work on myself, but if you do it quarterly, you know, Look at, your relationships, and look at what your pattern is, and notice if there's a difference. And if you actually have, which I do have really good friends that will just call me and just tell me on my stuff, call me on my stuff. So ask a friend, do you see this about me, or what do you see? And it may be time for you to set a new boundary.
How do you set boundaries, Nichelle?
How do I continuously work on setting boundaries is a question.
There you go. Keep it 100.
No, just real transparency. I mean,
Yes, I get
how do I consistently do that? I mean, there are seconds, days, moments, or better than others. I noticed that my quietness, me wanting to be alone and be still, is a way that I set boundaries. And a lot of my friends don't quite understand that I can, and sometimes it's not always perfect. I can sit and be still. I don't have to have the TV on, or if it's on, it's just on, but I'm doing something else. Or if I can read something and not have to finish the book, so ultimately I can also be like, oh yeah, I'm ready to do something, but limit my time with that person or persons.
mm,
And again, just noticing how I feel literally in my body, but also asking myself, what do I need right now in this moment?
mm,
That is the constant tape that I have. What do I need right now in this moment? And ultimately, I always say to others, which again, power in the pivot, saying to myself, be gentle with yourself. This did not happen overnight.
right.
Um,
Yeah.
I have, and I am constantly, people ask, how are you doing? I am growing and healing. I am constantly growing and healing. This is what it looks like for me. And not everybody can be there, and that's okay. It's no judgment. But for me, Nichelle, our Kitt, government name, it's about me being full transparent and just saying, this is work. And sometimes, not sometimes, but when you do the work, do the real work, it can be really uncomfortable.
Mhm.
But baby, the reward is priceless, baby. Priceless. And it's not so much financial pricelessness, the word I just made up, but for me is that inner peace that I have regarding the pieces that are in my life, PIECES, pieces that are in my life, but I have peace,
Yeah.
PEAC.
You
You know,
know,
and
you mentioned,
that's the key for
yeah,
me.
yeah. So, you mentioned how you feel in your body
Yeah.
when it's time to shut it down, meaning when it's time to depart the environment that you're in, or depart the people that you're around, or depart the emotional state that you feel like you're in. How do you know when it's time to go? You know
Oh,
how we could be sitting
no,
around with
it's just
friends, and then it's like it's time for me to go.
yeah,
How do
yeah.
you know when it's time for you to go?
My body tells me. I just feel a certain way in my stomach. My stomach does not lie. My gut does not lie to me.
Mhm.
I feel something, or I have this thought of like, you really shouldn't be here. Or what do you, oh, you need this and it's not here. Then it's time to go. And
Exactly.
the times that I do not listen, I end up paying for it in some kind of way of the disobedience of not listening.
Mhm.
And then if it gets to the point of my stomach is just really like, okay, you don't want to listen. Okay. And
Mm,
then I realized, oh, I should have listened, because then I would have that was my internal sign saying, mm-mm, you don't need to be here, or you need to end this conversation, or you need to not ask that next question. It means keep this closed. Bite your tongue if you physically have to, and then leave the situation, and or don't even say it. So hence, bite the tongue, don't say it. Stomach's like, oh, something's not comfortable with this environment. I had a situation where full transparency, I did this dating app, and I was supposed to meet this gentleman. And prior to getting to the space, I was like, something in my stomach was just not right. I didn't feel comfortable. Something just did not sit right.
mhm,
And I was like, well, you've been talking to this person, blah, blah, blah. Finally gets there, and we're having a conversation on the app, and he didn't get out the car. And I thought that was kind of weird. I was like, why wouldn't you get out the car? Why are you waiting on the app? I'm here. You should get out the car and look like somebody looking around for somebody to meet, right? And hence it would, work out. He never got out the car. And it was okay because I knew something was not right. And so the gentleman said, "Oh, well, just come to this great car." And I'm from a generation where you had the 18 van, and they were picking up kids. So I don't care what kind of car you got. I ain't going to your car, ain't AINT, trying to figure out, hey, mister, are you here for this date with Nichelle?
Right.
I ain't doing that. Anyway, point of the story is I am glad that I listened to that and was like, I'm not going anywhere. I knew something was not right. And I didn't actually end up figuring out what was going on. I mean, we just ended the whole, conversation. Like, okay, have
Right.
a good day,
Right. You
whatever.
didn't do it.
But I knew something was not right. And it showed. It showed it wasn't right.
So how does that piece go back to even when we're with friends
Mhm.
when it's time to go, or even when we're oversharing? Do you think as a person of service and truly your sister's keeper, do you feel that there's sometimes that you overshare?
Probably. Yeah.
And how do
And
you how do you navigate that?
usually I can read body language, and I can kind of tell with someone's face, like, oh, you probably either said too much or you did way something's not right. And so you like just backtrack and be like, okay, let's put a period right here, sum it up. Matter of fact, don't even sum it up because you already saw that face. Just put a period and walk away. That's pretty much it.
Michelle, leave the building. Just exit
That's
stage
it.
left.
Immediately.
Out the door. I
Immediately.
love it.
Because I think sometimes when you're doing that, you can kind of tell like there's a blank face, the blank stare, or they're just like tuned out.
Mhm,
And
mhm.
also I realized too, not a lot of people are where I am or want to be there or even are aware of that space. And that's okay. It's not for me to be out here trying to convince you or sell you some Girl Scout cookies. Nothing against the Girl Scout cookies. But it's not for me to come out here and try to convince you to buy this or to buy me or to accept. I mean, I'm not selling nothing.
Yeah.
If that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah. It brings me up. It makes me think about how we do sell ourselves.
Yeah.
We sell ourselves on a job interview. We sell ourselves with new friends. We
Hmm.
sell ourselves with old friends. We sell ourselves to be a part of projects.
Hmm.
We sell ourselves to our parents,
Hmm.
right? So
Yeah.
we're constantly actually selling ourselves. And I don't think it's until we have self appreciation,
Hmm.
know truly what we bring to the table, that we stop selling ourselves. And it's a conscious piece. It's not a
Yeah.
piece that just happens.
Yeah.
It's a piece that really shows up. When did you stop? When did you uh have you ever felt you were selling yourself? And when at what point did you say, let me pivot and not be selling myself all the time? Not literally in the way, but not
That's
not literally selling yourself.
I was
Um,
like that. It's not that kind of show. Okay.
not not this episode. Yeah,
um
just really quick, because
no,
a
to
little
be
bit
honest
for
with
the
you,
people.
to be honest with you, it's a lifelong journey. I can't say one date like, January, blah, 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 at this time. It's a constant recalling, it's a constant alert, it's a constant awareness of, am I selling myself too much? Or am I trying too hard to impress someone? It's an ongoing thing. Okay, let's talk about job wise. I have a wonderful job, and in the sense of there are some times where there's challenging moments, and I realize if I made a decision on how I support Mr. Blah blah blah, and somebody else doesn't understand, I don't have to sell myself to convince you that this is the reason why I did it. I did it because I knew what was in the best interest of blah blah blah. Period. There's no need to have open for discussion because I'm doing no harm. So
So
that's
that's
what.
in a work,
But then
that's in a work setting.
yeah, so exactly. So I'm saying it goes. That's what I'm saying. It goes a lot of different places. So work, that's one thing in work,
Yeah.
and again, unapologetic. So in a relationship with a girlfriend, the same thing as far as having the conversation back and forth, right? And then being aware of, well, we can both agree to disagree. However, this is how and where I'm pivoting And it can be open for discussion, but we both can agree to disagree.
Got it.
And then there's our times where you just lose relationships, or you lose, you have conflicts, and you lose whatever it is, the whatever, I can't think of the PC word, but you may not agree to you may not walk away and both be pleased. I should
Both
say.
be
That's
pleased.
just
Right.
how that's how it is. And I
Right.
again, I can give a bunch of different examples, because it's, for me, it's not just one thing like, oh, the aha Oprah moment, and this is where it is, and I know I don't do it anymore. It's a constant change depending on the situation, or a constant. It's a different answer on a different situation. If that makes sense, I feel like I was doing.
No, that's
Okay.
fine. This whole piece is about serving others and how you're having to pivot in how you serve, how you show up for others, and how you show up for Nichelle. So, on that tip, I want to thank you for this test. I want to thank you for this test. And I want the people to tune in tomorrow for
Yeah.
the full episode of how you serve as a woman, a full grown woman, but how you bring it back to yourself, how you have to
Yeah.
serve yourself, right? Because I think we have that's a situation. I think it's almost an epidemic of
Hmm.
us over serving without serving ourselves. So Nichelle, thank you for us doing this quick little test, honey. I
Yes.
will see you tomorrow.
Thank you. Thank you. I can't wait. Thank you so much, Corinthia. This has been definitely a surprise. I'm super excited to be a part of this, and let's just keep it real and be vulnerable tomorrow. I can't wait.
Yes, I'm looking forward to it too.
Thanks for the test.
I'll see you tomorrow. Hang out backstage. I'm gonna be back with you. Okay?
Okay.
That was a little taste of what tomorrow will bring. We're doing a test to work out lights, to work out things. Sometimes it's like, oh, I can't show up like everything's perfect. Sometimes we got to do it in front of the camera. So you get to see the work behind the scenes and behind us as individual people, because we are walking this journey and pivoting along the way. So I will see you back here tomorrow, honey, for Power in My Pivot. This is for men and women, kings and queens. So believe me, you are a part of it. You are invited to the room, because this is an interparticipatory experience where you get to bring it in, bring your thoughts in, and ask any questions. So I will see you back here tomorrow at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard, 2 p.m. Eastern Time. See you tomorrow, and power in my